Our goods aren't as competitive, and we lose jobs.
We are going to insist that China plays by the same rules as everybody else.
During the U.S. presidential debates, the RMB, China's currency, played a starring role. Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate, threatened to punish Beijing for keeping it undervalued.
I've watched year in and year out as companies have shut down and people have lost their jobs because China has not played by the same rules.
Barack Obama, the Democratic candidate, took credit for forcing Beijing to let the currency rise.
China's both an adversary, but also a potential partner in the international community if it's following the rules.
When sitting outside China, it's easy to look at the RMB's appreciation since 2005 as a response to foreign pressure. In reality, its appreciation is one small part of a much bigger story. Beijing is determined to turn the RMB into an international force that might one day rival the dollar as the world's most important currency. But what about China's vision? Why is it trying to make the RMB into an international currency? Apart from the obvious prestige, Beijing is after one major thing: independence from the US dollar.
China, more than anything, and this is probably the most practical element of this whole RMB business, is that China wants to have more pricing power of commodities globally. And having US dollar doing that, I think that holds China hostage to US monetary policy.
That is, when China buys oil from Saudi Arabia or soybeans from Canada, it wants the goods to be priced in RMB, not dollars. That would reduce the exchange rate risk for Chinese buyers, a huge advantage. Few countries can even think about doing this, but China has a big enough economy that it can throw its weight around in the international monetary system. There is also a powerful domestic explanation for why China wants to internationalize the RMB. After 30 years of incredibly fast growth, the economy is beginning to slow. Reformers in the government are trying to modernize the financial system to unlock new drivers of growth. But that is easier said than done. There's lots of opposition to change. One thing nearly everyone can agree on, though, is that they want the RMB to be as internationally prominent as the dollar. And here's the important point. To get the RMB to be accepted internationally, Beijing has to modernize its financial system and open the country's doors to more investment. The very reforms that many officials would otherwise find hard to accept.
So I think Chinese government is really determined to further reform its financial sector, and I think the internationalization of RMB is holding a very important key to the further reform of Chinese financial sector.
But Beijing is taking its time. When Asian countries from South Korea to Thailand were struck by financial crisis in 1997, China learned that a rush to internationalize a currency can subject an economy to hugely destabilizing capital inflows and outflows.
那么这样密切联系在一起以后，中国的经济就可能会受到这个国际游资的这种冲击。那么国际金融市场上的任何的动荡可能都会影响到国内。
So Beijing is proceeding only very slowly. China already accounts for about 10% of global GDP and 10% of world trade, but the RMB only forms 1% of global currency trading.
So the message from Beijing is clear. Wherever you live or work in the world, the RMB will soon be coming to your doorstep. But it will be years, possibly even decades, before the RMB can attain a global status akin to the dollar. Simon Rabinovitch for the Financial Times in Beijing.